So welcome to our sixth episode of STOKR Insights. Today is the 10th May 2023, and we are here again with Arnab, Naskar, and myself. Hi Arnab, how are you doing?
Hey Tobias, I'm good. How's everything on your side? You had a holidays, right? Yesterday?
Yes. We had a holiday in Luxembourg. You did not have a holiday, right? In Berlin.
No, what's the holidays about? Like, come on, guys, work sometimes, taking all the holidays constantly.
Yeah, but they celebrate here on the 9th of May. They celebrate the declaration of Robert Schuman. So he was on 9th May 1950. He was proposing to create a European coal and steel union between France and Germany, and that was actually. The proposal was then acted into the first form of the European Union 1 year later. So it actually was a very important date for the European Union. Very, very interesting where like now our foundation lies. And I think why we celebrated in Luxembourg, because he was Luxembourgish, very, very simple. And he's probably the most famous statesman actually coming from Luxembourg. And he was also French minister, so that was a time where these things were possible, that you were from one country and you were minister in another country. Yeah. So yeah.
So we lost one holiday, right? Germany lost one holiday for that.
Yes. Yeah, but I think you celebrate the union between West and Eastern Germany, and cannot celebrate everything. Everybody has its priorities. Today, I think we do a little bit different. So we have a guest today, right? And with the part B, normally we talk about asset tokenization and have this part normally for education purposes, and also like talking about how like things are working. And today we have Adam Schneider, who is setting up like a bakery chain in Dubai. Right, and he will be part of the second part today. And in light of this kind of guest, we want to focus a little bit today on the GCC region and look what kind of possibilities are there. What is GCC standing for, Arnab? And can you tell us a little bit about this region, because you're like often there, and you have probably some interesting insights.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. GCC means Gulf Cooperation Council. It's an interesting choice of word, I would say, calling it corporation and not a union. This is I think the European Union, and that's a corporation. Yes. I think I would say that somehow does not affect a sovereign nation's sovereignty. It still has some independent function, but for certain fiscal matters, for certain trade matters, they can cooperate as a economic, I would say, corridor jointly. So that's kind of, I think, the primary aim of creating a GCC region. This region includes Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Jordan, and kind of all that region and these things. And it's interesting also, if you see in Europe in that context, if you have a German market, French market, Luxembourgish market, collectively, when all these countries work together and go for trade deals or something, that has a much more wider impact. The same thing, I think, the GCC maybe the ultimate game is to convert to certain level of union and much more an economic union structure. I don't think that's still yet, but I think there's definitely some intentions there. And this is, I think, very interesting moment also, I would say, because we see all the geopolitical narratives at the moment where GCC is getting a lot of prominence. In every media, you see the news are coming every week, which was not so frequent, I would say, even 4 or 5 years back.
And there has been a conference recently, right, in Dubai, correct?
Yes, there is actually, I think, day before yesterday, and yesterday there was some there was a Dubai Fintech Week, which is one of the flagship event over there for the fintech ecosystem and the fintech companies. Even I saw the Luxembourg delegation was also there. I saw from Loft, Nasir was there, so that was kind of interesting to see that Luxembourg presence there. And one interesting thing, this event became on Twitter, this event was very much in limelight, and one of the interest reason for that was Coinbase Brian Armstrong was there, and he spoke highly of Dubai as a region, and also Abu Dhabi specifically, and he also was took a picture with the Abu Dhabi ADGM, the Abu Dhabi markets regulator, like we have the BaFin in Germany or CSSF in Luxembourg. Um, and there is an intention, it shows, from Coinbase side to set up and enter into the market via license over there, which is quite unique to BS, because if you see the entire crypto ecosystem, different companies have a different strategy. Coinbase has a very unique strategy, and that was kind of, they were continuing it for a long time. They always wanted to be in US. They wanted to be the
Yes.
US good boy, working in US, regulated in US, doing everything under the US laws, and they were criticizing anybody doing anything outside of US, calling them offshore, calling them they were trying to cut costs, telling they were trying to cut compliance, cut kind of protection to the users. But the recent developments, which we were discussing in the last, I would say, 5 episodes about what happened in US, within this short period of time, Coinbase went to Bermuda to get a license. Now Coinbase is going to the GCC region, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, to show their presence. Like winding up a few weeks back or a few months back, FTX was heavily going to the market to raise capital, which did not work so well for them, because I think the market is not stupid. Market understands, when there's something smells fishy, and they couldn't get a bailout from that region. But definitely more and more, I think the GCC region is getting very much prominent, and a lot of
Yes,
these
yes,
elements
and
are working.
I think like, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I think what we see a little bit is it like the Silicon Valley guys and also some venture capitalists, they're moving in this direction, and so, I think you mentioned like Coinbase, maybe that's also for regulatory reasons, but maybe ultimately also for raising of funds, right? We don't know really. But I saw also like that Ben Horowitz and Mark Andreessen, they were also talking about the region recently, like Saudi Arabia, and everybody was asking what do they need to raise funds now. We can not only speculate, but they were highly talking about the new developments in this region. I think it was also like a political shift. Maybe you can explain a little bit about how the business is there, because it's probably a different business environment. What you observe personally, also because you live in Berlin, you live in Europe for a while, but you come originally from Calcutta in India. And you even had your family event in Dubai, I think, recently. So you know a lot of stuff. What is like the difference working and doing business there than we do in Europe, and what do you think about this or this big movement now from US going there? What does that signify actually?
Yeah, so interesting. Like I have seen Dubai actually personally for quite some time, and I have been almost on every year except during the COVID time. That was I had some breaks on that period. What I have learned actually, and this is kind of very interesting, is every year I go there, the city completely changes. They are doing development so massively. It's like a so fast moving city, which is quite contrary to a lot of other regions where you go to the same city even after 3 years, 5 years, it still looks the same. So you feel the stability, which is kind of very fast moving. But on the other side, the way how these two markets operate in Europe or in Dubai is quite different. There are a lot of personal relationship, I think, getting more priority, and this is kind of, it's good, I would say, to some extent, because every business is creation of trust. If the trust is not there, no legal contract can save. And I think that, Tobias, you're coming to the legal side. I always tell the contracts are meant to save your disputes, not to establish a relationship, because relationships are done by humans, right? And there, I think you need to talk to people. You need to create the element of trust, because everybody's flocking there. They have to be also, the region also have to be very careful about who are coming there, who are trying to, tarnish the name, but who wants, and also distinguish them from who are the real guys who want to do real business and provide value to both the sides, like not only the guys coming in, but also people who are there. And I think this is kind of getting interesting. Also, the regulators, how I have spoken to few companies, they are working there. The regulators much more work on a, I would say, deliberation level. So that means they usually talk to you a number of times before they bring any action. That actually is very good, because in a new fast moving technology space where we are, in the space of crypto or blockchain or DLT, The technology is changing drastically. Sometimes it's always good for the regulators. I know maybe legislation doesn't permit, but if the regulators talk to the companies or talk to the founders or talk to the businesses, they get more insight, but also they can help the market at large in a wider scale, right? And this, I think, a lot of those regulators are doing, especially also in Abu Dhabi. If you see, there's two different markets actually, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. There are a lot of people try to sometimes confuse in this part of the world, but these two are complete different markets with complete different regulatory regimes, and they have their own licenses. But I also see how these things are happening in the last few months is the regulators are working directly also with a lot of accelerators, a lot of investors, a lot of VCs, so that way they can ensure the companies getting a license have the capital. Right?
Is this what is yeah, you can hear in the background
Yeah.
the the ambulance. What I mean, like, what kind of industries you think are attracting the most? Like, what kind of startups? I assume, like, in this whole region, you have definitely a need for technical infrastructure, right? For tech companies, as such, like payments, probably like basic infrastructure. Maybe they're also like differentiated or in the consumer base, right? Because like they have like maybe for example, like you need different setup of the finance structures to be compliant with the religious needs there. What kind of businesses do you see? Like a lot of crypto business going there. I mean, like, of course, like you mentioned Coinbase. But what kind of businesses you think will be interesting in this region?
I think there maybe, Tobias, we also went to the Abu Dhabi Fintech event back in the, I think just before the COVID, right? And that was an interesting moment also for me personally, because that point of time there was not that many crypto, but there are a lot of fintech companies we saw, like a lot of payment processors. And when I was also in Dubai 2 years, I saw so much, like I didn't take out cash, I didn't take out dirham anywhere, right? Which is contrary to what I will do in Germany, right? I like remember when we go to a bar or something without cash, they will kick us out, right?
Yeah.
And Dubai, there was not a single place I required cash. I was paying with my Apple phone here, right? Just simply Apple phone. I was paying with Apple Pay. I was paying with the cards, and this is just one level, but they have the apps like Kareem's and all these apps. You can do everything from ordering a laundry machine, like laundry stuffs, to buying food, to paying for your telephone bills, everything. Like it's something like what WeChat did in China that they're doing. So that actually is interesting. When we saw, and when I personally saw also development of the fintech over there and development of all the payment processors, because if your business can actually scale digitally, you can actually grow quite a lot. And every business today need to be fintech some way or the other, right? Because everybody takes a card payment. And there I see not only crypto companies, but a lot of fintech companies are coming quite a lot because of the GCC region structure. A lot of companies work from Abu Dhabi or license from Dubai and operate from other regions, operate to other regions. That's one. Uh, there's another category I would say which is becoming very prominent over there, which I learned, maybe some maybe missing some bigger industries because I'm not sitting there all the time, is the marketing and digital marketing industry. Because every digital company that is coming there, they require a marketing arm, and that's becoming a huge thing right now. That I think will bring a lot of creative people over there down the line, because this marketing and advertising require creative. So that kind of, I think this two can go very nicely with the ambition of Dubai and the Middle East region to establish themselves as a kind of the next economy.
Yes, but there's also like a need for other infrastructure, right? Because like our our guest in a few minutes, and Adam Schneider, he was building up a bakery chain, right? So this is also interesting that I think he's originally from France, and he came right there to build up this kind of bakery infrastructure. So there is need in every sense, not only tech, I assume, right?
Exactly. If people are there, Tobias, right? If the thing is that how
You
you
need to
bring
eat.
people in that region, exactly, yeah. It's a newly developing economy. Dubai, 1980s Dubai was completely different than today, because 1980s Dubai could not support the population that is there at the moment, right? But more and more people will come in. They will require certain level of luxury, certain level of products, certain level of services, right? Which may require what Adam did, is a French high quality bakery products. And that they have raised a decent amount of money on STOKR, and they have started the business beginning of this year in Dubai. And I was there. I actually ordered some croissants from there for the family of mine, and they were very good quality. Like, and this is, I think, a lot of people will appreciate, because Dubai is attracting a lot of global talents, and the global talents have global taste buds, and they want global food, right? So there's definitely a growth in that segment, I would say.
Yeah. So let's very excited to hear Adam Schneider. Then I think we end like the first episode, and then we go into our discussion with Adam. Hi, Adam. We are in the middle of our sixth episode right now. Thank you very much for joining us. I see you're in your bakery directly in Dubai, and I'm very glad that you have the time to join us in this episode. Very welcome.
It's a pleasure.
So Adam, if I may jump in, I think I was there into your bakery factory of La Boulangerie. Can you give a quick background about what is La Boulangerie for those in the audience who doesn't know what is La Boulangerie?
Sure. So La Boulangerie is a French bakery currently based in Dubai. We opened like early this year in January, and we had a fundraising done on STOKR. And yeah, we're just like a traditional French bakery, except that we're based in Dubai. Yeah.
I was actually, Tobias, just for the information, when I was in Dubai trip, I visited Adam's factory area. Not this time. I think I visited last time, and that time it was coming along. Adam, would you like to give us a quick show, if it's possible? I don't know whether it's possible or not, but if it's possible, just to show the factory.
Sure, I guess it's always a pleasure. So the bakery is quite big. So we have like this huge oven. There's some products over there just waiting to be eaten. And yeah, and like there's a lot to see, but it's laboratory where we make all the pastries and everything. So yeah, very big place, 200 square meter, and 100 square meter of it is our production area basically.
And as a baker, I assume you start very early in the morning, so now it's already everything is done, right?
Yeah. So everything we start baking around like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. For an opening time of 6 a.m.
Wow. And how is it? Yes, that's quite. Yeah, that's a profession, right?
Yeah. You have to be dedicated.
Yeah. That was always a problem. That's why I did not want to consider to be a baker because I knew it's very early. This job. That's very interesting. And Adam, you're like in Dubai. Do you can you explain a little bit like your experience in Dubai? How is it different, also from a customer based? And I think for your product specifically. What kind of target industries, like more specifically, how you grow, also like your company or what is your vision to grow over the next period of time?
So one of the main difference between Dubai and the UAE in general compared to Europe is that Dubai is very car-centric. So it's difficult to go around in any other ways than cars. So for example, in Europe, where you will go buy bread in the morning, you will walk to the bakery that is downstairs. In Dubai, that is not something like you would usually do. Most of the time because it's not possible, and sometimes just because like there's nothing nearby, like easily accessible by foot. Otherwise, one of the big issue is the weather. Right now, the weather outside is like more than 30 degrees. And the weather inside the bakery is around that much too. So it's very difficult to just deal with that. So one thing we have to do is basically adapt our business model to this. So by focusing mostly on deliveries, B2B customers, like coffee shops, etc. And yeah, a lot of deliveries basically.
I have one question actually for Adam. So can people actually buy your bakery products also via the apps like Kareem's and all these platforms at the moment?
So we are registered on one of those platforms, which is Talabat, which is like more local to Middle East and Asia, I think. I mean, it's similar to Uber Eats, Deliveroo, and everything. Only issue is that for certain products, we cannot offer them on Talabat because, like, for example, since we have like a more traditional way of baking breads and not an industrial way, it takes a lot of time to bake certain products. Like there's products like it would take 24 hours to make them from scratch. So since we want to preserve a quality in certain quality and standards, um, we have to basically try to avoid those apps as much as possible. Otherwise, we use them for only a limited amount of products that we bake in the morning or that we can have a stock of already made.
Are you at you're not at full capacity right now, or in this bakery, or are you already like at full capacity?
Oh no, we are far from being at full capacity. We have enough place to add even another oven, which should be able to double or triple our capacity if we wanted to. So we can easily. That's one of the things that was really great about this place that we found is that it's easy for us to scale. And if we wanted to, as you can see, there's a very tall roof, so
Mhm.
we could even add a second floor eventually. So like we have a lot of room to scale.
By preserving like the quality as you have described, right? Like the same, so you can scale up, and then you can do it as the same way as you do
Yeah,
before. Yeah.
we
Okay.
will not undermine the
Yes.
quality while scaling because one of the things that I've realized in the last few years is that a lot of the issues, health issues that people have, like for example, gluten intolerance and stuff like that, is directly the cause of industrial processes. And when you actually go back to traditional process, the products are easier to digest, they're healthier for you, and everything. So there's no reason for us to go into an industrial process.
I
Cool.
think I have few questions actually, Adam. As La Boulangerie is also a product on STOKR, and you did a successful kind of fundraising back in the last year. How's the your kind of customer base right now? Are you getting a lot of recurring customers in the business at the moment?
So our biggest pain point is customer acquisition, but once we have customer actually ordering from us, uh, 80% of them actually reorder because when people find quality products, they want to reorder basically. So yeah, very we have a very good customer retention. I was happily surprised about that.
Because I understand your pricing is a little bit on a steeper side, right, compared to normal average bakery products.
Actually, that's what we thought initially when compared to some of our competitors. But then when we actually defined some of our pricing for some items, we realized that we're actually quite averagely priced for most items. And for some items, we're actually slightly cheaper than some of our competitors.
And the margin is also quite good that you mentioned, right? Which is
Yeah,
in your
like
segment.
we're like the fact that we're cheaper sometimes, despite the fact that we're not actually looking to be, was really quite interesting realization that we had.
Good. I think thanks for the updates, Adam. But maybe I think we have some other topics. As Tobias mentioned, we were discussing about Dubai as a place which is kind of growing quite a lot, and you had this fintech week, right? I think 2 days back, and Tobias was asking me about how was my experience in Dubai and generally. But I don't live in Dubai. I usually travel. I'm based in Berlin, but I think you are a French person who moved to Dubai, and you have seen, I think, the changes for over the years. So if you can give some kind of a high level highlights about what you saw, the changes, and how long have you been in Dubai right now? So that will be interesting.
Sure, yeah. So I've been in Dubai for the last 12 years, I think. I basically grew up in the city, and Dubai changed a lot in the years I've been there. One of the biggest change I've seen that is more related to the Bitcoin and crypto community is that since the pandemic, since 2020, there was a lot of shifts from Bitcoiners that came around Dubai and that started establishing themselves long term in the city. So that was very quite interesting results of the pandemic. And we're getting more and more quality people installing themselves in Dubai, not just uh, people trying to scam others. So, like using the low regulation environment to scam others, like it's something more of the past. Now there's more quality companies that install themselves here that are actually trying to build legitimate products. So, yeah, that's a very nice shift since the pandemic.
Any interesting stuff on the Bitcoin side of the world? So, do you have some specific Bitcoin related activities happening in Dubai?
There's not that much actually, like specific companies, Bitcoin companies establishing themselves here. Like most of the companies that establish themselves in Dubai, it's because they're more financial companies because Dubai is at the border between Asia and Europe. It's like a link, a global hub. So if you have a fintech company, it's quite the place to be. But there is where lots of people from the community and actual Bitcoin maximalists that are based in Dubai are working on getting Bitcoin focused and Bitcoin only conference set up in Dubai by next year. So that should boost the number of Bitcoin companies in Dubai. Yeah.
That's the good news. It's an interesting
Yeah,
development. Yeah. Because I remember,
it's been in the work for years.
because I remember when the FTX before the bankruptcy, Sam was kind of traveling around the region quite a lot, and he failed to raise the money. And what I heard after that, when I traveled there, people were telling that Sam definitely burned a lot of people's interest in the market, and that's kind of was a bit negative and took the ecosystem a bit backward, right?
I actually thought it didn't do that much damage because, for example, we just got a news today that there is a big mining farm that's going to open in Abu Dhabi. I think 250 megawatts farm. So, like, there's investments being done, and I think basically what FTX did is like people uh, they still have the interest, but they're getting more cautious about where they put their money and making taking the time to do like more due diligence and actually more research about the project, which is not bad. Like they should do it.
Yes.
I think it's an I think it's an interesting news that in Abu Dhabi they are mining. I think definitely somehow it's a sovereign Bitcoin mining adoptions in that direction. I think it's going right. So that's a good news.
There, there's a lot, like a lot of the people in governments are interested about anything tech related or new. Thing is, having them focus on things that are not just PR is the most difficult part. So, like those deals, for example, the deal for that Bitcoin mine, I can bet it was in the work for years, but it take a lot of time to actually convince people to put their money in those big projects. Yeah.
Do you have specific advice for anybody who will come to Dubai and to set up a business there? Arnab said before a little bit that personal relationships are very, very important, even more important than in Europe. Obviously, they're always important. But, and yeah, maybe like something you would advise when somebody would come there.
So one of the biggest advice will be to actually get in touch with the local community because there's a lot of things in Dubai that are not really straightforward, and that unless you've been here for a long time, you may not know. For example, back from a few years ago, you couldn't open a business in Dubai, in mainland Dubai, unless you had an Emirati sponsor. But this law has been removed for years now. There's still people that think it's still the case. So it's very important to try to like manage like to get the information from the people that have been here for a long time, and also try to not fall for the hype about Dubai. Dubai is not just uh, luxury, like every city in the world. There is lower class, middle class, and the upper class. Like Dubai is for everyone, but let's avoid falling for the PR basically.
Very interesting.
I think it's a good point. I think it's everywhere, right? The PR is the biggest thing. If you're a business owner and you're trying to create your business strategy based on the PR, you will fall into a black pit. That's for sure. Yeah, I think we are good. Thanks, Adam. Tobias, do you have any question?
No, it's fine. It's good. Thank you very
Perfect.
much.
So I think we can end this here. Thanks, Adam, for joining this session.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me here.
Looking forward to having you soon. And thanks to the audience for listening to us. Have a great day and take care. Ciao.
So, take care. Alan.